one of these matches I'm going to show you for this Corinna deck is actually against a Masters player. So pretty cool stuff. Cannot wait to start climbing those Masters ranks. Until then, we are playing all sorts of different decks, including this new Corinna control deck, which I'm sure you guys have all heard of. I think it actually probably first reared its ugly head back 2 weeks ago or so, and now pretty much everybody in Masters has been playing it up and down the ladder. It's the new flavor of the week, so I figured I'd give it a shot myself and see how it did. And unfortunately, it did pretty good. I did make a Corinna deck, I don't know, a while back, if you guys remember. Link is below in the description. Much different than this version. This one does seem to be a lot more stable than whatever the heck I was trying to make. So welcome back, everybody, and if you are new, my name is Justin, also known as Shit Just Works, and today we're going over the Corinna control deck, Piltover and Zon and Shadow Isles. So if that's what you're looking for, you're in the right place. We got 2 games coming right up. One is a mirror match, fun stuff. God, my hand was clunky. And the second game is against an aggro deck. So 2 completely different gameplay types. But before we get into both of those games, I want you guys to answer in the comments below. What are your thoughts on this deck? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's cancer? Let me know what you think. I personally love the card design of Corinna. I don't love the card design of Ledros nearly as much. I think it's a little bit, overkill, a little bit broken. But regardless, this deck still does its job quite well. So let me know what you think about the deck in the comments below, and let's get into the video. Alright, so we have our first matchup here against Holy Bayozi, ranked 688 Masters. So this is one of my first Masters matchups, actually, and it's against a mirror match, so fun stuff. Usually you want to get rid of the get excited in your opening hand. Obviously the Corinna, that's more of a late game drop. You could argue that in the mirror match you want the Ledros and Corinna earlier. I don't know, that's luck of the draw. I end up drawing a Ledros, and as you'll see in a little bit, drawing towards basically all the other finishers I have in this deck. So I don't think I needed to keep the Corinna in the first place, but I digress. What you do want to keep is draw, especially in the mirror match. You are going to want to draw into your combo faster than your opponent. Or you can go the aggro route. If you are drawing more aggro cards in your opening hand, or you mulligan for more aggro, like the Elise, like the Brood Awakenings, you're going to be able to overwhelm your opponent possibly a bit faster than they can overwhelm you, especially with all the burn spells. So you might not even need the Ledros and the Corinna, and I think that's kind of what my opponent was going for most of this game. He did decide to open attack with the Elise. I block his Spiderling, and then this is when you see that he's very clearly going to move forward with trying to kind of burn me down with the spiders, as opposed to going the control route, because he does Vile Feast the Elise into another Vile Feast. Now you could, this is kind of where I'm not going to lie, I think I start to make some misplays, because I think I could have gone about what I decided to play here a little bit better. Namely preventing my Elise from taking the 1 additional damage. I think I convinced myself into not killing the Spiderling when I blocked it with a spell, instead blocking it with the Elise and killing it, because I figured he might have had a Mystic Shot or something. Turns out he ended up having the extra Vile Feast, and that's probably what I should have been more worried about. Alright, hold up 1 second. If you are new here or you haven't subbed yet, consider subscribing if you do like the content. If you think I'm providing some value for Legends of Runeterra and you like what you're watching, definitely hit that sub button. Puts an additional Spiderling on the field. Regardless, in either situation, I probably shouldn't have played the Static Shock into the open like that, because if I didn't, I would have been able to kill the second Spiderling as opposed to sinking the damage into the Elise, which ends up costing me later, because now I have a Grasp in my hand, and if I remember correctly, I think I end up playing the Grasp to kill the Elise, which is not nearly as efficient. It's actually not efficient at all, mainly because, A, I'm not even getting the full 3 health heal. I'm only getting 2 of it, and I'm not even getting the full 3 damage. I'm only really getting 1 damage, but I kind of have to kill the Elise at this point. Otherwise, he'll probably summon some Spiderlings, level her up. I take more damage. So it just wasn't pretty. So now we have, oh God, we have such a spectacular hand. Jeez. I think I screenshotted this hand too to post as a picture somewhere. It's up in the air as to whether or not you can argue if this is the best possible hand you could have or the worst possible hand you could have. Basically stuck with every clunky card in my deck. I think I end up drawing the next Ruination pretty soon too. So on the bright side, I have a Progress Day. Progress Day, I think, is at 2 in this version of the deck. You don't need nearly as much draw as you'd think. This is mainly the goal of this deck usually against, aggro or mid-range, which you'll see the aggro matchup a little bit later, is to just kind of stall out for as long as possible. So honestly, instead of putting another Progress Day, you probably want that extra, Grasp or Withering Wail or something like that. I'm not sure this version plays Withering Wail. I want to say I have 2 Withering Wail in here. I, for some reason, cannot seem to get it against this matchup, and he gets his Brute Awakening off, which is a pain in the ass because a Withering Wail would be absolutely amazing here. So I end up killing the Elise to make sure that he can't get the level up on her to do the additional damage, because then I wouldn't be able to block with my Spiderling token. And then I have to, at this point, grasp one of the tokens to just save face a little bit. You could argue that this was also a misplay because I'm grasping a token, but when I'm taking that much damage, that means I would have taken 2 more damage. I would have been down to 12. Any damage I can prevent against the mirror match is probably good at this point because of how much burn they're going to have. With the way that my hand is too, I know I'm basically racing him now. I have 1 win condition right now, and it's get as many Ledros and Corinna off as possible. So I do end up playing the Ledros. I do end up attacking. He unfortunately plays a Frenzied Skitterer, which means he can block, which sucks. Now at this point, I'm thinking to myself, what do I do here? Do I just let him die, he returns to my hand, or do I actually kill the Spiderling token to allow him to live? I do end up wanting him to live, mainly because I want to be able to block with him next turn. After I get excited, this Spiderling token, he lets it go through, but then I believe he ends up grasping my Ledros. So, as much as, yeah, he returns to my hand, most matchup, him returning to your hand is really good because you'll be able to get his effect off again. In this matchup, with how much field presence he has over me right now with the extra 2 tokens and the Frenzied Skitterer, that's bad because now I'm at a point where he's going to be able to open attack next turn and do a lot of extra damage, which is basically what keeps him in this game. If it wasn't for this swing right here, I would have been 100% the victor. It would have been no question in my mind. I had the Ruinations to fall back on, but then I end up having to take, 7 to the face. Now the game is on. Now the race is definitely on. So the Corinna then becomes a pretty easy play. I can clear his field and then also set myself up for an open attack with 6 damage next turn. Usually with Corinna, with this deck, you're looking at 3 to 4 on average. You're only playing, I think 3 Ledros, 2 Corinna, and I think there's 3 Skitterers in here. And 3 Elise, right? The rest are all spells. So there's a pretty good shot you're going to get 3 on average most of the time, sometimes 4. And honestly, there's an okay chance to get 5. Feels good to hit 5, man. So he ends up playing the Elise and the, oh God, I forget the thing that you spend all your mana and you do a bunch of damage. That card. I forget the name of the card, but I end up having to play the Ledros at this point because I need to get his effect off again. I have a Get Excited in my hand, so I'm 2 off from victory. The problem is now I'm within range of him potentially burning me down. So I'm also worried about, Get Excited, a Mystic Shot to my face. Like right now I'm worried specifically about a Mystic Shot and a Get Excited. I know he has at least one of each left in there somewhere. So the fact that he attacked and killed my Ledros is not good. Or sorry, not attacked, but killed it with a spell. So now I have another open attack to deal with Elise, which means I have to use my Get Excited here. If I don't use my Get Excited, I am screwed because then I take 3 more damage. And you can see here, he has the Atrocity. So I would have taken 3 plus 2 from Atrocity. That would have actually put me at 1 health. Okay, that would not have been good. And then at that point, he'll almost definitely have either a Mystic Shot or a Get Excited. So it's actually not bad that I got the Atrocity out early. That might have been a misplay from him. I don't know the rest of what's in his hand. So I do play the Corinna again to try to get an open attack. He grasps, heals a little bit. At this point, it's a toss-up. Because now all I have is 2 Brood Awakenings, really, that are going to be able to rush him down. So it's very, very, very close at this point. Like, this whole time I'm thinking, what does he have in his hand that's burned? If he draws a Get Excited, I'm screwed. Actually, what ends up happening is I don't think he expects 2 Brood Awakenings. He already blew his Brood Awakenings, which sucks for him, because now he can't play those to combat my Brood Awakenings. Instead, he has to play Ruination because he doesn't really have a choice. And then I have, excuse me, the follow-up Brood Awakening to push the damage through for the win. And, I mean, you can see here, too, that he had, in a second, he's going to play it, the Mystic Shot in his hand to get me so close to death here. So I was right in thinking he had 1 burn spell in his hand, but he just never drew the Get Exciteds that he needed to actually close out the game. So this was a very, I mean, I'd say in the future, Corinna mirror matches are probably just a coin flip. It's honestly just who gets the burn damage first and who draws the Corinna or the Ledros first. So yeah, so it was a good game, but I won, and I'm pretty excited about it. So hopefully that helps you guys with, you know, trying to play that deck. It's definitely a difficult deck to pilot, but it's definitely one that is fun and rewarding once you get the win. So now we're going into the aggro matchup here, and this is usually one of the easier matchups, to be honest. There's not much that you can draw here that won't lead you to victory. There's 2 ways to go about this. One is controlling the game with the spells. The other is basically meeting their aggro with your aggro. So in this case, or both, which is kind of what ends up happening in this case, I draw basically the nuts in this matchup. And the reason I say that is because having the Aristocrat blocks exactly this opening right here. And this is the perfect opening to block, because then I get free card advantage and I block 2 damage against an aggro deck. So boom, we're good to go. The other thing is, even if he had that 3-2 Legion Rear Guard that can't block, I can still block it with the Aristocrat. Then I just save 3 damage. I might not get the card advantage, but saving 3 damage is definitely worth it against aggro. And anything else I block as well. Any of the 1-drops I block. So having the Elise as a follow-up also starts to generate me tokens in a little bit here too. So, you know, just the Elise, the Aristocrat, it's just usually too much alone for the aggro deck to, you know, overtake. Not to mention I have Withering Wail and Vile Feast in my hand. The Vile Feast is honestly what's going to do it here. Because he has these 2/3/1s. So at this point, he's thinking, okay, I have to sack my Elise into one of these 3/1s. Especially because he just played the Fearsome. This is why I passed and waited to play the Vile Feast on one of the 3/1s. Because I would much rather Vile Feast the Fearsome, because I can't block the Fearsome with anything at this current point in time. So now I am able to block both 3/1s with a 1/1 token, which feels so good. This is probably the point when he probably figured he was going to lose as well. But lo and behold, he had, which you're going to see in a second, a Draven and a Jinx. So he actually could have stayed in this game. It was a very potential possibility that he stayed in this game if he was able to get his Jinx to live. But at this point, he's only done 4 damage by turn 4. There's no way if an aggro deck or face deck like this is only doing 4 damage against you turn 4 that they are going to win and come back. It's just not. I mean, I already have 3 heal in my hand, 4 heal in my hand, 2 Ruinations, a Corinna for a board clear if we make it to turn 9. And I have the Crawling Sensation if I do block with a Spiderling. That's what I end up doing here. So the aggro matchup overall is something that you should want with this deck, which is why. So a lot of people are playing this in Masters right now, and it's like cancer in Masters. It's mainly because you're going to end up playing a ton of mirror matches, right? But if you play this in something like Platinum or Diamond, I don't think it's as prevalent. Again, mainly because of the difficulty in piloting the deck. So it might pay off, because a lot of people, in my experience, and this is with any game, whether it be Hearthstone or Magic or whatever, you're going to be playing a face deck to ladder. So when you're going from iron to bronze to silver to gold, that you run a face deck, right? Because especially in like iron, bronze, and silver, most people you play against are not going to be as knowledgeable in the game. So you play a face deck, you're maximizing your time and your efficiency in trying to ladder, right? Once you get up to platinum and stuff like that, it's a little bit harder to run a face deck, But people still do it because if you go in 50-50 or 55% win rate, it's still quicker to get through all the games. So this deck will 100% counter that. The games might take a little bit longer, but you will ensure that you are always winning 100% of the time. And you can see here too how ridiculous Vile Feast is in this deck. Mainly, and not for the reason you'd think, right? You'd think, okay, it heals you 1. That helps against aggro. Gets you a Spiderling token to level up Elise. Great. It's really, and it does 1 damage, you know, to kill maybe the 2-1 Saboteur. That's not why, though. It's mainly because of the extra blocker. I mean, me being able to block, you know, just a 4 attack Jinx from getting through and saving 4 damage, that's insane. That's really, really good. So having those extra blocker tokens, even in the mirror match, because you can Vile Feast one of their tokens and then get a blocker up over them, it's awesome. It's that card is literally what saves this deck in the early game. So now he's trying really hard to come back in this with the Get Excited on my Elise. I end up playing the Withering Wail to kill his Jinx. Or sorry, not his Jinx, his Draven. And then I think, if I remember correctly, he ends up auto-conceding after I target the Jinx with Mystic Shot and kill it. Because at that point, he doesn't have a draw engine to get back into this. I was actually concerned about him discarding to level up the Jinx. But I forgot that I did enough damage to get him down to 1. So once Jinx levels up, he's still only going to be at 2 health. Or she's still going to only be at 2 health. So if I couldn't kill this Jinx, he had an opportunity to at least somewhat get back in this game because of my hand. I don't think he should have forfeited. If he knew that all my cards in hand were 9 cost, he would have known that he had a solid 3 more turns before I could even play anything. Depending on what I draw, obviously. So, I mean, there's a small possibility he could have drew, like, or topped another Jinx. So he probably shouldn't have forfeit there, at least for a turn or 2. But, hey, I'll take it. It is what it is. So, that's the Corinna deck. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. I hope this helps a ton. All right, everybody, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. We got lots more content down the pipe as I continue my grind to Masters. I think I'm going to be doing another tournament this weekend as well, so I'm very excited for that. Hopefully, I can start placing in the top 16, top 8, or something like that. So, looking forward to it. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. As always, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you, and peace out.